The last e-lecture looked at an overview of the six-step planning model. The following e-lectures start to look at each of the stages in more detail. We'll begin now with step 1, which is about pre-planning and project management. So why is this so important? Well, planning offers you the time to step back and to think through your project. It offers you the opportunity to engage with stakeholder groups, which will be central to success. And it recognises that time and resources are valuable, and in spending time at the beginning of the project, you will ensure that you make the most of these and complete the work. Within the project, you need to identify who the major stakeholders are. A stakeholder is basically a person who has some interest or involvement, and this could include your project team, the person or client, community partners, the employer, people at the university. How much each stakeholder is involved will vary depending on the nature of your project and who they are, and a useful guide is offered on page 15 of the work six-step planning booklet, which looks something like this. So you can actually see the range of stakeholders. So please do use that resource. So if we go back to the lecture. Okay, so you'll see that the handout also talks about good practice, and these are the following principles of good practice that are outlined there. That's working with people rather than for them, involving clients in project design, ensuring that you use participatory evaluation strategies, and using techniques of participatory or action research. At this point, you're also going to need to think about time and timing. For example, how much time do you have? When are you available to meet online? What's a convenient time to meet with your client? And resources, what skills and experiences do you bring to this work? Are there other resources that you can tap into? You'll then need to think about data gathering. Where will you obtain the information needed to guide your planning efforts? And you need to think about including assets as well as needs. For example, opportunity for new partnerships and collaboration and community resources. You know, what's already out there and what's already been done and is already happening. At this point, it's important to recognise how the model or the frame of reference that you're using will shape your intervention. For example, if you're looking at a very biomedical approach, you'd be focusing on process of disease. So for example, if you're looking at factors in my module that hinder older workers from using a computer, you might be focusing particularly on medical conditions. A behavioural approach, on the other hand, will be looking at the behaviours of individuals and how they can impact on employment, whether that's an employee or an employer. And a socio-environmental approach would be more encompassing and take into account the psychosocial, socio-economic and the physical factors that create conditions for ill health, and also for wellness. Finally, the final aspect of this step is in decision making. You need to be very clear about who is responsible about making decisions of which part of the project, who needs to be consulted and who needs to be kept informed. So please use the working notes on page 14 to 15 of the handout provided on Blackboard. The worksheet on page 16 allows you to create a work plan for the planning process, and we really would recommend that you do that and use this as part of your portfolio development.